All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a hidden connection between something like a plastic shopping bag and your own DNA. I know, it sounds kind of crazy, right? But the answer lies in one of the most important molecules on the entire planet.
So let's kick things off with a question that honestly sounds a little weird. A flimsy plastic bag and the incredibly complex blueprint for all life, what on earth could they possibly have in common? Well, the answer unlocks a really fascinating world of chemistry.
Well, the secret, the thing that connects them, is that they're both giant molecules, and they're both built from tiny repeating building blocks. Understanding how these massive structures get made is really the key to understanding so much of the world around us.
At the heart of all this is one key word, polymer. And it's not as scary as it sounds. It actually comes from the Greek words poly, which means many, and mer, which means parts. So really, all it means is many parts. Just a huge molecule that looks like a super long chain.
Okay, so if the polymer is the whole chain, what's each individual link? Well, that's a monomer. Mono just means one. So these are the small, simple molecules that join together over and over and over again to build that big polymer chain.
So here's the big idea, right? The whole process, which we call polymerization, isn't some kind of crazy, complicated magic. It's really just about connecting these little monomer units into a long chain. But how they link up? Oh yeah, that's where it gets really cool.
Okay, so let's check out the first way to build these chains. It's called addition polymerization. It's probably the simplest way to do it, and this is the method behind some of the most common plastics you see absolutely everywhere.
All right, so this whole method kicks off with a special kind of monomer called an alkene. Now, you don't have to be a chemistry whiz to get this next part. The most important feature is that it has a carbon-carbon double bond. Think of that double bond like a pair of hands holding on to each other. They're strong, but they can let go and grab a neighbor's hand instead. And that's the secret sauce for this whole reaction.
And you can see exactly how this works right here with polyethylene. Yep, that's the plastic in your shopping bags. So first, you've got all these little ethene monomers just hanging out. Then you add some pressure, a catalyst, and bam, that double bond pops open. And just like that, they start linking up hand in hand, creating one super long continuous chain.
So the really important thing to remember about addition polymerization is this: nothing gets lost. The monomers just add together. That's why it's called addition. The final polymer has every single atom that the original monomers started with. It's super clean, super efficient.
But of course, that's not the only way to do it. There's another method, one that's a little more elegant, you could say. And it's responsible for everything from the shirt on your back to, well, you. This is called condensation polymerization.
And this table just lays it all out so clearly. Remember, addition just uses one type of monomer. Condensation, that usually needs two different types to play. And forget about double bonds breaking. Here it's all about specific little parts of each molecule reacting with each other. And here's the biggest difference. In condensation, something actually gets kicked out. A tiny little molecule is left behind as a byproduct.
Okay, let's take polyester as an example. Instead of just one monomer, we need two different kinds. Now, don't worry about the big chemical names here. The key thing to see is that each of these molecules has a reactive part on both ends. It's like they have two hands, ready to link up with others in a long alternating chain. So, when these two different monomers finally do link up, they create a brand new special bond between them. And for polyester, we call it, you guessed it, an ester link. This is the new connection that holds that whole polymer chain together.
And this is the key moment. This is why it's called condensation. See, to make that new bond, one molecule has to give up an OH group, and the other gives up a hydrogen atom. So what happens when you put an H and an OH together? H2O, water. A tiny little water molecule pops out of the reaction.
Okay, you ready for the big reveal? This is where it gets amazing, because it turns out this whole idea, linking two things and spitting out a water molecule, it wasn't our idea at all. Nope. Nature has been the master of this technique for billions of years.
Let's talk about proteins. You know, the stuff that makes up your muscles, your hair, the enzymes doing all the work inside your cells. Well, guess what? They're all polymers. Specifically, they're called polypeptides, and their monomers are amino acids.
And just look at this. Nature is following the exact same playbook we just saw. You take two of its monomers, amino acids, the reactive groups on each end link up, a water molecule pops out, and a new bond is formed. In this case, it's called a peptide bond.
It's literally the same fundamental process as making a polyester shirt. How cool is that?
And it doesn't stop there, not by a long shot. Think about DNA, the master blueprint for all life. It's a polymer. What about the starch in potatoes that gives you energy? Yep, that's a polymer too, made from little sugar monomers. You see, nature is the ultimate polymer chemist.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and just bring this all home.
This table really wraps it all up nicely, doesn't it? You've got your addition polymers on one side, like our plastic bag, formed by just adding monomers together. And then you have the condensation polymers, like polyester, proteins, and even DNA, all made by linking up and losing a little water molecule.
And that brings us full circle, right back to that first crazy question. What do a plastic bag and your DNA have in common? They're both polymers. They are both built using a simple set of chemical rules. And it's just mind-blowing, isn't it? That a few simple chemical rules can build something as disposable as a plastic bottle and at the same time build the irreplaceable, complex blueprint for life itself.
And that just leaves us with this one last really big thought to chew on. If human science and Mother Nature are both using the same basic chemistry toolkit, just with different parts, it really makes you wonder, what's next? What other amazing materials, living or not, are just waiting to be built?